Thank you to Marvel Puzzle Quest for sponsoring today's episode. We're breaking down all the Easter eggs that you may have missed in Thor Ragnarok. Marvel fans just couldn't resist getting hammered this weekend. Thor Ragnarok hit the box office hard with a series-high $121 million haul, nearly doubling the opening weekend of the first Thor movie way back in 2011. And if you've seen the movie, which apparently most of you have, it should be no surprise why. It is funny, fast-paced, and amazing to look at. But more than anything, it's a Marvel movie. Perhaps the most Marvel-y Marvel movie without the word Avengers in the title. It's absolutely stuffed with references and Easter eggs paying tribute to past movies and comics, and naturally, we're going to break down a few of our favorites right now, but before we do, we must warn you, spoilers cannot be avoided in our arena. So, if you haven't seen it yet, now would be a good time to go and hit the bench. Let's start with a little bit of a comic book deep dive. Ragnarok's plot is a hodgepodge of story elements from several famous comic arcs. The centerpiece of the film, the Thor vs. Hulk throwdown in the Grandmaster's Arena, is all obviously taken from the Planet Hulk storyline from the mid-2000s, but much of the rest of the movie is inspired by Walt Simonson's classic run on the Thor books from 1983 to 1987. Simonson introduced Scourge and his beloved machine guns, Surtur and his demons, as guardians on the run, and even the moment where Thor put Loki's head in between his hand and his returning hammer. Also, you might have noticed a brief mention of Thor turning into a frog, which is something that actually happened in the comics. The amphibious fate befell the God of Thunder due to what else but a trick played on him by Loki. But even though Planet Hulk and the Simonson years are the main influences on Ragnarok, there are still tons of smaller references hidden throughout. The look of the film is inspired mainly by the artwork of Jack Kirby. Calling the Grandmaster's game a contest of champions is a shout out to a mini-series of the same name from the early 80s that pitted the Marvel heroes in a battle royale up against one another. Thor loses an eye just like he does in the Jason Aaron comic Thor God of Thunder, where in the far future he becomes the new king of Asgard. We also see Mjolnir incognito as an umbrella, similar to how it is often disguised as a walking stick in the comics. And finally, it seems like some familiar friends have had some pretty successful careers in the Grandmaster's Arena. We can see Hulk's head being built into the side of his tower at the center of Sakaar, but beneath his bust we also see Beta Ray Bill, Bi-Beast Ares, and possibly even Man-Thing. We just wonder which one of them Hulk had to smash in order to take his place as the new champion. Now moving on to the MCU itself, this Thor has plenty of callbacks to the now nearly decade-old legacy of the franchise, and plenty of them you probably noticed, like Doctor Strange's extended cameo, or the fact that Thor's "the sun is getting low" mantra is the same one Black Widow used to calm down the Hulk in Age of Ultron. But there were some smaller ones that you may have missed too, like the Infinity Gauntlet Hela dismisses as a fake. That was actually featured as a little set decoration in the first Thor movie, but it seems like plans changed for the MCU over the years. Thanos got his own Infinity Glove, and that one had to be written out somehow. And honestly, Hela knocking it off its pedestal has to be the funniest and cattiest bit of retconning that we've ever seen. And speaking of Thanos, that enormous ship Thor and Loki are confronted by in the mid-credits scene belonged to the Mad Titan, who was probably on his way to intercept the Tesseract that Loki pocketed on his way out of Asgard, which Kevin Feige confirmed is Thanos' ship, the Sanctuary 2. And finally, there were plenty of non-MCU movie Easter eggs too. The song you hear on the way to the Grandmaster's throne room is Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The dramatic reinterpretation of Thor: The Dark World we saw on Asgard starred Matt Damon, Luke Hemsworth, and Sam Neill as Loki, Thor, and Odin respectively. The Shady Acres retirement home Loki stuck his dad in is also the name of the retirement home from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. That's a random one. And naturally, director Taika Waititi couldn't resist making a few nods to his earlier films when his character, the Rockman Korg, shows Thor a giant fork perfect for stabbing 3 vampires in close quarters. He's obviously talking about the vampires living in close quarters from his film What We Do in the Shadows. But slightly more obscure is the shake weight Scourge uses at the top of the film. Apparently, it's the same shake weight used in Green Lantern, which Waititi co-starred in.
Wow, I know, right?
So there you have it, the first MCU DCEU on-screen crossover. And given the choice between it and Batfleck, we think Waititi made the better choice with the shake weight.
Oh,
But what do you folks think? Are there any references or Easter eggs that we missed? Was that enough Beta Ray Bill for you? And did you think Ragnarok rock and rolled? Ayo, what? You thought we weren't gonna work that pun in?
classic. Still hate it?
Let's discuss. The all-new Thor has arrived in Marvel Puzzle Quest. Inspired by the new movie Thor Ragnarok, an all-new event has opened up, the Sakar Arena. In this new Versus event, you can team up with the mighty Thor in 20-person 90-minute lightning rounds and earn all sorts of goodies like elite and heroic tokens. Get in on the action and head on over to the App Store, Google Play, Amazon, or Steam to download Marvel Puzzle Quest for free.